Welcome back, blade lovers. This old sword with you. And today we are revisiting the TS81 from TwoSun Knives. This is an oldie but goodie, one of the original ones that I had really become enamored with and liked a lot. This isn't exactly it, but this is the same model, and I'll show you why in a minute. This is the upgrade, is what I'm calling it, because we have materials now which are carbon fiber on the handle, titanium handle for the basic handle frame. It is a frame lock, but this one sports M390 steel in the blade. So that's a big jump from the original D2, but the D2 knife was quite nice as well. And I'll be showing that off in a minute, along with one more model of the TS81. It was quite popular along with a few others initially, so TwoSun decided to keep going with it and make them a few different ways at different price points, as a matter of fact, as well. So what do we have? We have a gorgeous titanium frame with what I'm going to call a shred carbon fiber, near as I can tell, because we've got a milled in pattern that makes it a little difficult to tell what the underlying pattern of the material is, but it sure looks like shred or at least marble carbon fiber. Nicely inlaid on both sides equally. It is a frame lock. Some might call it a bolster lock, but not really, because you can see the fully exposed frame lock all the way up that side of that handle. But what they do is they drop it below the level of the inlay. When you close it, then everything is pretty much flush. Hardened steel insert. No lanyard hole that I am aware of. Nope. We have a solid backspacer halfway up. Beautiful machine work. For the price of this knife, which comes in, this was recently purchased from White Mountain at about $115, less 10%, which is my old sword discount. You get a satin finish blade that is absolutely gorgeous with a swedge on top. Reminds me a little bit of the Bestech knife, and I'm trying to think of the name of it. Maybe later I'll think of it, with that really high flat grind. Nice termination there, beautiful plunge grind even all the way through. We have this little detail here that is actually cut out on one of the models, but only recessed on this model. No jimping, but it almost doesn't matter if you're not working real hard with this knife. You have a beautiful platform there for your thumb. Just lays right down naturally. And the grip is so ergonomic. Just even all the way through. And stop and pause a bit so you can just kind of take that in. Look at that ceramic ball and the feather style of pocket clip. Now this is a long knife, large, long, however you like to portray that fact. And let's do some measurements on it, get those out of the way, because the online measurements are sometimes accurate, sometimes not, and you're usually going to get the best measurements off of eBay. Coming right up on 9 inches, we're going to call it 8.9 overall. And we're going to do the same in the blade, going to call it a 3.9 blade with about the same cutting edge, no difference there. And the handle thickness 0.54. It's got a little bit of breadth to it, but that's good because it's fairly narrow top to bottom. So it gives you a little more purchase there. Blade's going to be pretty stout, 4 millimeters for the blade. And coming in at 4.28 ounces, call it 4.3 ounces. Not terribly heavy. And it is not milled out inside, near as I can tell. I don't see any extra milling there. Now, part of that reason is that you have the scales, which are inletted portions of the titanium. And that reduces some of the weight in the handle mass. So no, it's a light knife. You wouldn't think it looking at some of the mass of it. But show you one other thing. Going to risk another cutting demo. Here's my beautiful photo of my fixed blade Cricket, James Williams design. Nice point on that too. So as you can see, it is pretty standard for TwoSun knives to come through with excellent laser-like edges. This is no different, and with that high grind and that thin edge, it is a slicey knife. But notice we've got a pretty good amount of meat, I'll call it, right out to the point. It's a fine point, but with the 4mm blade stock, it's just a really nice balance. And this is a balanced knife of beauty and ergonomics. So there's that model. Here is my original TS81. Same exact knife. D2 on this blade and a bone insert rather than the carbon fiber. This one's actually aged a little bit, and unfortunately we got a mild little crack there. I think the guy that sold me this from eBay, was a US based seller, actually sent me spare inserts for this knife, but they were all left-sided. And he thought he gave me a left and a right, but he just gave me two lefts. But nonetheless, same knife, same milling, everything identical about it, as you can see, except the insert and the blade steel. Blade steel on this guy is, as you can see here, D2. By the way, these are both Wong designs, one of the two original designers for TwoSun, Night Morning and Wong. And I think it's Denziang Wong. I'm probably butchering his first name, but I'll just call it Wong Designs. And he's done a lot, and he likes this. He likes upswept as well. Swordfish is the one I'm thinking of, I believe. Bestech Swordfish. This is very close to the same blade design as the Bestech Swordfish, I think. I loved this knife until I found out that they, I still love it, until I found out that they came out with it in M390. And, you know, we've all got a little bit of blade snobbery to us. So, oh yeah, we got to have the M390 instead of the D2, but visually, can you tell? No, not at all. Here's yet another version of the TS81. This one is a liner lock, and it is a steel liner lock. with a variegated, very interesting orange and black G10 handle scales. So rather than being a frame lock, it is liner. It is very smooth. They're all very smooth. And you notice they did a cutout there instead of just the relief or mill or inset, or whatever you want to call that. I'm not a machinist, so I don't know the terminology. This also comes with a deep carry clip, and this was amongst their first attempts at giving us deep carry clips. You can see they did use dome head screws on it, but it's a pretty good clip, and they still come on a lot of the lower end TwoSun knives. I think you can pick this up for like 40 bucks or something like that, and it is really made extremely well for that price. More like a $80 knife, let's say. As I said, this one came in around $115, I think. These you can pick up in D2 for like 60 bucks, maybe 70 bucks, maybe less. I don't know. But it is a classy knife with that natural bone insert. You could take those inserts out, of course, and replace them with something. Or you could just buy it like that. Or you could buy it with a full G10 handle. Let's take one more look around before we put them all away and bid farewell. If you didn't know it, you would swear this was like a $400 knife. And I know some of you are going to come back at me and say, no, not at all. It doesn't look like a $400 knife. But to me, it's precision all the way through. And it's a class design. And on top of that, it feels great. It feels really, really secure in the hand. Plenty left over as well. Not a small knife, but light and responsive and sharp. And good utility for that blade as well. So there's a TS81 carbon fiber M390. There's the D2 with the bone insert. And here is the G10 Econo model. Take your pick. But that's the upgrade. Nothing really new, but new to me. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe.